Welcome to another great episode of Scaling with Insights, where we bring leaders of marketing and sales to talk about current trends of the industry. I'm your host, John Russo, and I would like to introduce you to our guest. But before I do so, let me tell you a little bit about our sponsor for today. And welcome. Today, we're sponsored by the Growth Ops community, and we are a professional network that aligns marketing, sales, and customer success to deliver excellent customer experiences in order to drive business growth. We're a community where growth operations professionals can connect with one another, align them best practices, and foster personal growth. And today we got a great episode with Hunter Montgomery, a longtime colleague and friend of mine, has also been a client of B2B Fusion. And Hunter's now the CMO of a small company that's growing quickly called Churn Zero, focus on the customer experience side. And let me bring Hunter onto the show. Hunter, good to see you.
Hey, John, good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing terrific, thanks. And thanks for making time. I know you're slaying a lot of dragons right now. Maybe you could do a quick introduction of who you are and a little bit about your background.
Okay, great. Thanks, John. So I've been in kind of the SaaS marketing world for a number of years. About 12, 13 years ago, I was running demand gen at Vocus, which kind of recently after I left was bought by Cision here in the PR software market. Then spent the next 7 years at Higher Logic, which is an online community platform. And then a year ago, started over at Churn Zero. Actually, former CMO from Vocus is the founder and CEO currently of Churn Zero. So I run all of marketing here, Churn Zero.
And tell us a little bit about Churn Zero. I think you're kind of in a unique situation where as a CMO, you're targeting the CS and CX area, which it's kind of a newer area for a lot of us marketers, but maybe share some of that experience if you can.
Sure. Yeah, the whole CS world has just exploded in the last 2 or 3 years. I think last year it was one of the hottest jobs in LinkedIn. So we focus on CS practices and the CS teams, customer success, where primarily their focus is around product adoption, product renewal, hence the name Churn Zero, churn, the classic term in the SaaS world for customers who do not renew. So we have the job like any marketer, find our ICP, go after them, convince them that we actually show true ROI for any organization that's trying to really manage to a metric that it's now all the way up to the board level of churn and renewal rate. Like that's something that in the past was kind of something that was in the back end, but as it becomes more and more important, it's something that we see organizations really focusing on. Like one of the things we've seen recently is 61% of SaaS organizations have a SaaS team or group that reports directly to the CEO. So we've just seen how important it is for organizations to address customers and their experience with a product and a company.
That's very interesting. A lot of what you said was interesting there, but in particular, that statistic, maybe just double clicking into that a little bit in terms of other CS and CX organizations that you see. What do you think are the key elements for growth there, or and tell us a little bit about the segment that you're focused on there too, as you're thinking about that as well.
So one of the things is with any platform, right? Any SaaS platform or any product you're doing is trying to show that ROI and that it's worth investing in a system. So, the classic idea is you get new customers, you add more CS. So if you double your customers, maybe you double the CS team. Well, organizations don't want to do that, right? And so a lot of it is trying to understand that efficiency to scale. You want to scale along with the organization. And so showing that a CS team not only can handle more and be more efficient with their customers, handle more customers per sales CS customer success manager, but also that they can be more effective in what they do, right? So they can show the value. As I said, if you are a CS leader and you have to report to the CEO and he wants to know, what's our net revenue retention, and that's an important key metric for him, and your team can help drive that. So that's kind of where we really hone in on with the team. It's about the adoption, it's about the renewal, and it's also about efficiencies and getting that team focused and being able to scale along with it with the organization.
You mentioned something earlier about the board level metrics, and some of the board, and maybe that net retention of revenue is one of those key metrics. Are there any other metrics that come to mind that people should be thinking about in terms of reporting up at the board level from a CX perspective?
What we've seen a lot with our customers, and recently kind of did a survey with some of our customers and prospects. Obviously, net revenue retention is a classic one. The others on the CS side are NPS and customer satisfaction score. There's also, product adoption. We know a lot of organizations that look at, okay, what's the percentage of product adoption? Because that also drives renewal, but it's an earlier indicator. Another one that's come up big recently is expansion. Like, how do you get your customers to use more of your product or buy, do the cross-sell, upsell route? So especially in SaaS, where users is a big number. So if you have a product and you get more users to want to use it in an organization, that's one way of doing it. But obviously the other way is you expand your product and feature sets. But that's been a big one, especially since COVID, right? Like there's been a slowdown in new customers. So not only do you want to keep those customers, but the ones you're keeping, that's an opportunity for you to drive more revenue. So that's been a big area for the CS practice recently too.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a trend where CX is almost like the new lead generation or the new demand generation. Your customers and upsell, cross-sell, and selling more becomes a whole lot more valuable. So I could see your perspective on that. Maybe in closing, in terms of offering one piece of advice to perhaps a marketer that doesn't normally think about customer experience or customer success. Maybe they're trained classically in the lead generation or demand generation. Any piece of advice that you can give to us as that audience member of what they should be thinking about or what they should be doing differently or what skills they should be looking for to hire for?
I would say for the first one, I think don't be afraid to get into the customer marketing side. I think a lot of times it's been off limits to the marketing team, or it's sort of been just a peripheral, like let's do a little bit of brochures and things like that. I think that having confidence going in there saying, hey, customer team, here's what we can do for you, and leveraging what you already do. One of the things we did two things. We started a customer newsletter, right? We have content that's appropriate for our customers, not just on the demand gen side. Our content can be used by anyone. And then we went and said, look, we're very good at running webinars, thought leadership webinars. We can do topics that can help your customers too. And it's a lighter lift for us where a CS team may have to go find speakers, the platform, like they kind of feel overwhelmed. Or if you just say, look, this is what we do, let us do it. So we've done a couple of customer webinars also, and it's easy. You get customers to be on a webinar to talk about the success they're having and share that with other customers. So it sort of, feeds on itself. But my biggest thing is like, don't be intimidated by it, because I'm sure a CS team would love your help. If you're not going in there, it's not about demand gen, it's not about leads, it's just about creating that connection and showing the value and making your customers feel like, okay, I see the company I'm working with has kind of the bigger picture in mind and how they're going to help me out.
Excellent. Outside of Churn Zero, I'm sure you keep busy and now more than ever with kind of the spring or fall time coming up. What do you do outside of Churn Zero that occupies your time?
Anything that gets me outside. I like to play tennis with my kids. If I play golf, if I go running. Played a trip in October. Hopefully the travel will be okay. I'm going to do a camping trip with some of my friends, longtime friends. So just getting outside. We're inside all day long. Just need to find a way to get out there and release a little bit of the attention.
Well, I appreciate you making the time here today, Hunter, and it's been great catching up with you. And stay safe in these crazy times. And the camping trip sounds like a ton of fun. So definitely enjoy that.
Thanks a lot, John. Great talking to you.
Great talking with you as well.
Have a great day.
So if you like this presentation, please like and subscribe, and you'll get similar content in your feed. Thanks for listening.